Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And Mickeyfan.
And my golly, where have all the years gone by? It's been 10 years since the start of the decade, and we are approaching upon a brand new, bold era in Disney parks. So before we enter the new 20s, if you will, when it comes to Disney parks, it's time to look back on the 2010s, time to look back on a few monumental attractions that opened up and defined this decade in Disney park entertainment. Now, I'm gonna kind of spring this on you guys. It's kind of like a thought challenge. We're gonna kind of play a game right off the bat here. You guys like games, right?
Yeah.
I'm already nervous about what's about to happen, but sure, let's see.
Sum up this decade of Disney parks in 2 sentences or less. Go.
Mickeyfan?
No. Go ahead.
Fine. All right. Okay, let's say I hope this counts as 2 sentences. This last decade in Disney hinged on manifest destiny and expansion on a global scale and fully embraced IPs. Is that not 2 sentences? That no good?
No, it's 2 sentences, pretty much.
There you go.
If anything, it's 1 run-on sentence, but I'll take it.
Well, Mr. Springing things on people, that's what you get.
I'm grading you, Dragon, and I'm judging you. Mickeyfan.
Sum up the decade. There's a lot of good. There's a lot of bad. I like it.
All right, Mickeyfan, you get a gold star because you're new around here. All right, I'm just playing around, guys. I'm just playing around. You can't
spring this stuff on me.
Okay, so just generally speaking, with the decade, I just think that what we saw, like Greg and I feel like hit it on the nose. Actually, was sort of like a grand expansion, but at a cost. But also we gained something. It was a give and take. Like what we essentially lost was, with the exception of Mystic Manor, which we'll talk about, we lost some of the originality along the way. But what we gained a scale, man. We saw lands and properties come to life in bold and big new ways that would have never been thought possible at the start of the millennium. And it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time. And we're going to talk through it kind of relatively chronologically. You guys got anything else to say before we just kind of jump into our attraction roster here? It looks like we got a couple people in the chat. Claude Kringa. Hey, Claude. So yeah, imagine an attraction where we go through Scrooge McDuck's mansion or Money Pit.
Yes.
Or Duckburg as a whole. Mickeyfan, we're competing in the Sorcerer's Apprentice, and I don't want to get too derailed with this, but one of the opposing teams to ours actually did a DuckTales Tower of Terror in Disney Studios Paris.
So good.
So yeah.
I just think using the money bin for a drop ride is kind of a brilliant idea.
Definitely. So we agree on that, Claude. Nice to have you on board. Okay, folks, so I'm going to kind of take you through DCA, because DCA is our starting point. Of course, as we all know, or as most Disney fans know, DCA it did not start out on the best of terms at the start of the millennium when it first opened. As a matter of fact, it was very maligned. The Simpsons even made a couple of jokes at its expense. Homer Simpson says to his estranged mother, "Don't worry, Mom. I'm going to take you where no one is around for miles. Disney's California Adventure." So, DCA was definitely very maligned until, of course, Tower of Terror was one step in the right direction. But really, it didn't start coming together until the edition of Midway Mania, which we'll talk about more in full when we get to Toy Story Land. But really, we got Midway Mania, we got World of Color, which was the first nighttime spectacular for DCA, which I still haven't seen just because nighttime spectaculars aren't really my thing. We'll get it into why when we talk about Happily Ever After. But
wait. Didn't they have a Christmas one the first year? Luminaria, right?
Oh no, yeah, you're right. Luminaria was technically a nighttime spectacular. Yeah, you got me.
With a great soundtrack and not much else.
Oh boy. Okay, so DCA, of course, 2011, we get Ariel's Undersea Adventure, which I do think does fit the bill for a nice Fantasyland style dark ride in the park. As a matter of fact, I feel like it's a little more high scale than a Fantasyland dark ride, just because of some of the it's an omnimover. You get the some cool underwater effects.
It is a wonderful D-ticket attraction.
Yeah, a D-ticket for sure. That's exactly how I'd sum it up. So yeah, I definitely think that we have DCA is getting more well-rounded. And then Cars Land and Buena Vista Street drops. Dragon, I'm going to throw it to you. What do you think of these additions, even though you've never been to them?
Well, so the interesting thing about Buena Vista Street is, they're kind of looking to the past, kind of as a Walt building the magic, as it were, because I think that was the idea behind it. We're kind of looking late 20s, early 30s era, California, LA, more accurately, I guess, Hollywood. That basically it kind of like you see the surroundings that are going to be kind of the more expansive stuff like Cars Land around you. Basically, you're walking in kind of like Walt's the guy starting all this, and as you get through, it's like, oh god, look at what the man created. That sort of thing. It's kind of built in there. It kind of gets you. You go from the early work to the new stuff. So again, like the cutting edge, but again, like a little foot in the past leading to the cutting edge. It kind of seems to be the whole mission statement behind DCA kind of paving over its flaws. Like, guys, we need a facelift. We need to look good. We gotta do some course correction here, guys. Which of course brings us to Cars Land. Cars Land, I was, of course, the Cars Land is at a time where Iger's championing, the inclusion of Pixar at this time. It was kind of a really big genius move on his part. He kind of helped save Pixar was kind of in some uncertain waters a certain time, and of course, I think you have like a gentle starting place with Midway Mania. After Toy Story is coming back, big, from Toy Story 3, and so at this point, Iger's taking the iconic IPs of Toy Story, and kind of like what's current, and you take an iconic IP like Toy Story, then you take kind of a current and profitable franchise of Cars, with a movie that has also come out the prior year to this as well, 2011 Cars 2. It's you also have like kind of the thing going forward. Okay, Radiator Springs is in California. That's where we are. We got a bit of a nostalgic vibe going on here, so why not rebrand with this? It all just gels really nicely with Cars Land, and I think it was just something magical to see a Pixar movie kind of in the real world. I don't know. It's just something from what I've seen of Cars Land. That was always the thing that was always so remarkable to me. It's just seeing something you've seen in a Pixar movie in the real world. And of course, basically, I feel there's like a building block thing in effect here. Where you got to earn Toy Story Land, so you got to start. Okay, we got to start small with Cars Land, but we got to do a great job on it. I think they did do a great job. At the origin of it's quite fascinating. Kevin Rafferty,
you got to start with a giant national park to build to a backyard. Damn it!
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love that you're
to be fair, Dragon. I think the more accurate comparison would be like you got to start with something like this to build to like Pandora, with like the floating mountains and the alien plant life and stuff like that.
That's a much better comparison.
Just in terms of ambition.
Oh, sure.
All right.
But still, I mean, I love that. What I'm saying is, I think the best thing about Cars Land is that we are given we're the tourists in Radiator Springs. We're given like what Radiator Springs is all about, of course. Like after the whole bypass of it all, we're trying to get people to come into the town, explore the town. Kind of a little bit of a tourist attraction, and of course, it's kind of fits nicely in with kind of the mission statement. Okay, well, you're basically communicating exactly what the whole movie was about, the whole Route 66 of it all. It's quite ingenious.
So, pro tip to anyone visiting Cars Land for the first time: do not go through the main Radiator Springs Main Street entrance. Go through the Pacific Wharf entrance. You won't regret it. It is a much grander reveal. In fact, make a point to avoid the Main Street entrance. Walk around Grizzly Peak. Go into Pacific Wharf. You won't regret it. It's worth the extra walk. That reveal with vistas and all the and the cars racing each other and the Cadillac range. It's stunning. It's stunning. It's one of those moments in Disney parks where you just look all around you and you just lose your sense of you lose sense of the fact that like you're literally like 10 feet away from a city block in Anaheim. It's crazy how immersive everything is as you're in it. Mickeyfan, have you ever been there?
I have.
Okay. So what are your thoughts?
Buena Vista Street, it's great. It's, and the citizens of Buena Vista Street are absolutely hilarious.
Oh yeah.
And then Cars Land, it's really great. I haven't been able to go to Disneyland in a few years since the 60th. So, I haven't been able to see everything, but Cars Land, it's just a really great land. You got one of the best e-tickets in the resort. You got some really great flats. I think the atmosphere is great. I think everything about it is just makes for a really great land.
I love the story behind it, man. I love, Rafferty, he loved cars, and he pitched like, let's do like kind of a throwback to, kind of going with kind of nostalgic vibe we're kind of going off of here. Let's do like a 50s kind of car layout. And of course, at that time, this is like an 07 he's pitching this. Of course, the year before Cars comes out, unprecedented, success, especially for the young kid, especially for kids who, of course, went really big in the merchandising. Of course, carried that franchise to a great deal. And essentially, it kind of gives them the opening. Yeah, let's do this, man. We can just attach to the cars. It'll work like gangbusters. You get the proper people involved. You have last through there, the guy behind the movie, you're giving notes on, and just kind of overseeing the process. At least kind of a flawless recreation of the film. It can't get any more like from the screen to under your feet than you can imagine it. I mean, the Cozy Cone Motel, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That you really don't like. It doesn't register how much of it is literally a world of cars until you're in there and you're seeing, the Cadillac Range and the Cozy Cone Motel and the, and Sarge's and
V8 Cafe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, V8 Cafe.
Can I say that the Cozy Cone Motel is the best? I would say it's the best snack quick service on property.
Okay.
I love the little Easter egg that Buzz Lightyear is in the Cozy Cone Motel.
That is maybe my favorite detail in all of the Disneyland Resort is that little Buzz Lightyear in the cone Easter egg.
I think it's so great.
All right, but yeah, I love Mater's Junkyard Jamboree. I wish the queue was like a little bit shorter for it on average than it is. I could wait in a 15-minute line. I don't really want to wait in a half-hour line for something like that.
Oh yeah.
Luigi's is honestly, it is Luigi still. Luigi's Relic and Roadsters. I've done it once, and I feel like I don't need to do it again. But it is fun to watch.
I miss the tires. I miss the tire theme they used to have.
Oh, the cast members don't, Dragon.
Really? Why? I mean, it seemed all fun and everything. It was, like it's tires. He has the Leaning Tower of tires.
Mickeyfan, would you like to explain?
Those were not fun to ride. Let alone, I imagine the cast members were not enjoying having to teach people how to load them.
Oh.
And use them.
Yeah, it was a nightmare. It was an operations nightmare. It was like, hey guys, we tried to do this back in the 60s. It didn't work, but Don't worry, we have 50 years of technology on us.
Nope.
What could possibly go wrong?
Nope.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
It was literally the exact same mistakes as the flying saucers. All right.
Cool.
Like on paper, at first glance, though, it sounds like it might work, doesn't it?
On paper, it's such a cool idea, but
Yeah.
it doesn't work.
All right.
All right. So yeah, Cars Land, of course, is what do y'all think of Radiator Springs Racers? First of all,
Better than Test Track.
well, yeah, that's pretty obvious.
Both versions of Test Track.
Yeah, not having been there, I would say it looks really cool, man. It does. It looks pretty neat, and again, it does look kind of like a better update of the Test Track.
I will say my favorite part of the attraction isn't any of the indoor dark ride portion or the race itself, though the dark ride portion is impressive and the race is a lot of fun. I really love that first couple minutes where you're going on that Sunday drive and you pass the waterfall.
It's such a great mood setter for it.
And that's what I'm talking about. That's the big draw right there. It's like, again, you have all these iconic, you feel like the hallmarks of the first movie particularly, where again, like you're going on the Sunday drive and you're a tourist in Radiator Springs, like all the hallmarks of the movie are there. You get a little bit of racing, you get a little bit of, you get your racing, you get your kind of your ambiance, you get like the core value of what the movie's all about. And that's really special.
Yeah. And like the dark ride portion itself, it's, we touched on Little Mermaid, but that's the really good Fantasyland style dark ride when you think about it. You're just kind of passing through little moments from the movie, as a character, and it's the dark ride portion.
I think
is just
Mater
really great.
is kind of like we're going to track the animatronics through this decade. And Mater is the first one we need to kind of like plant the flagpole in, because I still think Mater is one of the more impressive ones. I think he holds up just because of how naturally he moves, and I think obviously the fact that he is a vehicle helps sell that naturalism. It really does feel like a cartoon tractor just naturally moving with us.
Yeah,
I love the name. I love the nicknames they have for these. They're called automatronics. It's adorable.
I love the detail of Mater flying over the moon.
Nice.
Ew.
Oh, Doc Hudson, man. I love seeing him come to life. That's nice.
What out of the two rooms that you get split into, which one is your guys' favorite? Ramon or Luigi?
Luigi.
Mickeyfan?
I'm gonna say Luigi. It's hard not to love Luigi.
Ramon's good. I'm just saying it's Luigi, man.
It's really hard not to love Luigi.
I'm gonna make an argument that you see Luigi at the starting point anyways. And with Ramon, I think it is cool how they do the effect where you see the car change color in the mirror, as you get the paint job.
That's nice.
And so that to me is a more impressive effect, rather than just like, oh, we're going to lift the car up a couple feet just to simulate the tires. But I do love that starting line. I love that starting line, and the whole like, oh, 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready, and here we go.
Just so I don't forget about it, I love. I just want to mention this: the craftsmanship of Carburetor Canyon is still just.
My God, it's incredible.
As I'm saying, like again, like all the car logic, you see the fins coming out to make the formations, like all the little details, man. The hood ornament, valley, all that. It's great.
And when you're in line for racers, you just feel like you're in a national park, man. That's all I can tell you. That's the best way I can describe it. I mean, you feel like there's just vistas out in the distance. It's crazy. It's like this was built on a parking lot. This used to be parking lot. Yeah. Okay, should we move on to the next year then?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, Dragon, start us off. What are we talking about?
All right, so now we're going to the mystical year of 2013 with Mystic Manor. Let's talk Mystic Manor.
The magical, mystical tour is waiting to take you away. All right, so Mystic Manor is my personal favorite attraction of the decade. It's not the most technologically impressive, even though it is a pretty good sort of upgrade to the Pooh's Honey Hunt trackless dark ride technology. It doesn't have the most fluid animatronics, but all the animatronics are very solid. But I think what it does have is the best world building and the most original story and characters of the decade. And I do think that the characters themselves set the tone for the Society of Explorers and Adventurers being what it is in the Disney fandom by the end of the decade. Lord Henry Mystic and Albert, to me, are some of my favorite Disney Parks characters ever. And this attraction is kind of a bucket list thing for me because I love the originality of it. I love how they had to build it out of necessity because the Chinese culture, doesn't take well to ghosts and stuff like that.
It's my favorite thing about it.
Yeah. So they had to kind of like build a whole new conceit around a haunted mansion premise. I love the original music. I love Albert. This attraction just fires on all cylinders for me.
The exterior looks great too, by the way.
I was going to mention that. Yeah, I love how whimsical the exterior looks. Love it. Just to me, it hits everything that Disney should do with an original attraction.
I mean, he's just the guy with a story you want to know. I mean, that's kind of the thing from the first time you get in there. It's like you're so wrapped up. Okay, this is new. This is interesting. I want to know more about this guy.
Well, and I think it's with all the C members, they've done a really good job doing that. Between Henry Mystic and Mary Oceaneer and Carmina Falcone and Barnabas Bullion and like all of them. You look at them and you say, "Oh, I want to know who you are. I want to know more about you."
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that's also...
And what the cool part about that is that I feel like it fulfills the Disney parks, like the Walt style of Disney parks, where it's like it's not about just like telling you every bit of a story beat by beat. It's really about letting your mind make up the story. That's what makes Pirates of the Caribbean just an avant-garde masterpiece of a dark ride, is just how every time you go on it, you can picture something different.
I say Mystic Manor might be one of the most unique things within the decade in that it is just something. Again, it's something that, as you said, it does kind of capture that Walt magic. He kind of gave us a sense of, well, not us in person. I don't imagine you guys haven't been out there, have you?
I wish.
That's what I'm saying. I don't. What?
I would quite like to go to Hong Kong, but not at the moment.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. It's like,
I can guarantee you my first overseas Disney park is probably going to be Disneyland Paris because it's the closest flight. So,
right. Well, what I'm getting at is that even though, for the lucky people that were there and us just kind of by proxy of learning about the thing, it just kind of gives you a sense of like what it'd be like to be there, years and years ago when they come with all these original rides for the first time. You're seeing, like, imagine if you saw Haunted Mansion spring up for the first time. That's what these guys are getting with that experience. It's kind of magical.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
So, big flagpole, we need the plan here. Again, the trackless ride being really inventive and kind of really starting to come into its own as a regular thing. So the trackless, kind of an example of the future. It's another example of the future of Imagineering at play with the trackless dark ride.
I honestly think Pooh's Honey Hunt still really holds up in the wake of like the trackless dark ride boom. I think Pooh's Honey Hunt is a brilliant blueprint. Dragon, do you know anything about Pooh's Honey Hunt?
Nope.
Okay, it's Tokyo Disneyland, and it's the first trackless dark ride that Disney did. It's got a lot of unique things to it that are different from the different Winnie the Pooh dark rides. For example, the Tigger room, the whole room bounces, not the vehicles. Yeah. The whole room bounces. Let's see. There's a lot of other stuff. It's a really amazing ride. I want to go on it someday, of course. It's definitely the big thing that draws me to Tokyo Disneyland besides Disney Sea. You know, it's the big thing that draws me to that park, to Tokyo Disneyland itself.
Well,
Obviously,
I mean, now we have Beauty and the Beast coming, which I think that's
true. That's true.
Going to be an even bigger draw for me as someone who adores Beauty and the Beast. But I very much want to do Poseidon Hunt.
All right, so trackless dark rides starting to come into their own. Dragon, what's next on the docket?
Going to the wonderful world of 2014. It's Seven Dwarves Mine Train.
Yeah, this is this is one of the more overhyped attractions of the decade, I think. But the thing is, I appreciate Seven Dwarves more for its aesthetic and what it does for the land itself, more than the actual ride. I really like the mountain. I think it's like a perfect size. Like I think it's neat that it's essentially like a hill and not a Disney mountain, but it still fits kind of like that Disney mountain quota. I like that you can walk basically entirely around it, and so you can see a lot of the different outdoor portions of the ride. And I really like how you can kind of like hear the high ho starting up as you see the mine trains kind of go into the cavern. You know, there's a lot of cool aesthetic things. It's a very kinetic ride. It's a very kinetic ride from the outside.
It does a lot for the Fantasyland kinetics, especially in that specific area.
It's nice to show a little love to where it all started with, Snow White.
Sure.
And, since they made a very bad mistake in getting rid of Snow White, the dark ride, like, I think this is a decent, not great, but decent
it's an olive
substitute.
It's an olive
I mean, guys, let's face
it.
If the lines were like 45 minutes on average instead of like 90 minutes on average, or I think we'd be singing a different tune here.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I
it's
feel
a great, half an hour, 45 minutes. It's a great ride. No.
Yeah.
Once you pass an hour, it's just not worth it.
I mean, it's fun. It's never going to lose the fun factor.
Oh no.
Ending's a bit of a downer, though.
I like the ending. It's
like the evil queen's outside just waiting to pounce. How's that an ending?
It's ambiguous, Dragon. It's ambiguous, just like the
movie.
original.
Better than being crushed by a diamond.
That's what I'm saying. I honestly feel like that ending is an homage to like how the original Scary Adventures ended, with kind of an ambiguous ending.
And I think that obviously it's decently common knowledge that it was, when it was originally planned, it was a far longer attraction.
Yeah.
And that kind of shows that there's like more ride left that we're not getting. That's all I'm saying. It's just feeling it's like she's about to knock on the door and the ride's open.
I totally think that maybe 10, 20 years down the road, that we potentially could see them take the ride down, retrack it, and add a witch scene and a happily ever after scene to the ride.
Oh man, that'd be crazy.
Be neat. So a big takeaway again, moving on to another thing within 2014, projection tech.
Yes, projection mapping. I love this a lot more than just like, hey, we're gonna slap a screen in front of the guest. Yeah, Transformers the ride. Put on your 3D glasses and look at a bunch of screens and get jostled around. I'm not a big fan of Transformers the ride. I've only done it once. I'll give it another chance when I go to Universal Florida this year. But anyways, sorry. Go ahead.
No, but it's just, projection mapping is yet another one of those components that definitely earmarks for me within the decade, the future of Imagineering. It's basically we're how can we make the animatronics look better without having to kill ourselves, or how much wiring can we do on this thing? Can we make your coffee and everything at this point? Like, maybe not yet, but we're we're going to project animation onto the representation of animation to actually sell the effect even more, which is genius.
Oh yeah.
To me, my favorite use of projection mapping is when they projection map over the park icons.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
I love the Tree of Life. I love when they did the Tower of Terror for the holidays. The Frozen Flurry or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
You don't expect it to work, but it does. And it works so well.
And I love what they do for the Halloween and Christmas parties on the Main Street buildings. I mean, that to me is like my favorite use of the tech. And also when it's subtly used in attractions, not necessarily for animatronics, go ahead.
I think Snow White at Disneyland was the first one who did it.
Alice at Disneyland was the first one to do it.
I think, at least in an attraction, I think Snow White at Disneyland was the first one to do it with the mirror. When the Queen transforms.
Oh, really? Because I always thought that Alice was the first one to have because Alice has a lot of projection effects in it.
Yeah, I think Alice was for the 60th.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, semantics. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know what's nice this time of year? Paris.
What?
Let's go there.
God.
Okay.
So Remy's Ratatouille adventure. Let's talk about this one.
Hey kids, you want to go look at some screens and get jostled around and look at some semi-impressive scale effects?
It's a good thing you're not in charge of the PR department. I just want to say that here.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Ratatouille from what I've seen of it.
I think you mean the ride, not the.
Well, no, I love the movie.
That's what I'm saying. So when you phrase it like that,
So,
go ahead, Mickeyfan.
But I've actually been on the ride, and I think it works a whole lot better in person.
Does it? Okay,
I think you get a bit more of that sense of movement that you're expected to get, but also I think it's just a really charming ride.
Yeah, I'm really happy with this ride exists, man.
It's not.
I mean, you can see how I could be underwhelmed by it just watching the video, though, right?
Yeah, I think. Oh yeah, totally. But I think that in actual practice, it works really well.
Okay, that's cool.
And it's not some huge major e-ticket attraction, but it's a solid D ticket, and I think that
yeah, for sure.
I'm always going to defend the solid C and D ticket attractions because not everything has to be a huge e-ticket. Nothing.
Okay.
We don't always have to have Rise of the Resistance. Sometimes we need Little Mermaid. Sometimes we need Ratatouille.
Here's the only problem with Ratatouille, though. I'm sure it's a great ride. I'm sure it is, and obviously you're the only one who could speak for it. So I trust your judgment, of course. But I think with Ratatouille, it was meant to pretty much anchor like a really, really bad park.
Oh yeah,
and it's a solid D ticket, like you said. But I think that I just think that other anchors of suffering parks, like when they put Cars Land into DCA, or as we'll talk about with Pandora, Animal Kingdom, I don't know. It's just Ratatouille to me, obviously it's a smaller scale park in general. But the fact that is really the saving grace of the park, it kind of it's both a blessing and a curse, because it's a blessing because I'm sure it's a charming little dark ride and, it's got some impressive effects and everything. But, the fact that that's what you're hanging your hat on, the whole park, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I will argue, though, that I think it's going to fit beautifully into Epcot as a supporting attraction.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think for the opposite side of being on Frozen and that kind of idea, I think it's going to.
I love that symmetry.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I mean, of course, I think that one of the great things Ratatouille does, though, I love the whole. You can set up a gift shop, you go to the bistro. I think that's genius.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
yeah.
saying. But
Totally,
say what you like.
totally.
Look, I do like the whole shift where we're at a rat scale and we keep going from the screens to the actual practical,
Yeah.
scaled environment. That's really neat. It's like all that, and of course, it leads to a bistro. It's nice that Paris has something like Ratatouille. It's really
Yeah.
special like that.
Well,
It's just it's nice.
and when I talk to people who say, "Oh, we're going to go to Paris soon," and um, I always say, if you're going to Walt Disney Studios, the only things you actually need to do are Ratatouille and Mickey and the Magician, and then you're done with that park.
So speaking of all this food, Tiki, you know what I could go for?
Some school bread.
Yes, let's go to 2016 because we got to try the school bread.
We got to try the school bread. The bakery is now open. Gonna ring the little bell.
See, he had the whole school bread thing. I had a pleasantry with donuts during the holidays. Okay,
Oh
so
God.
yes, Frozen Ever After. So now we're going.
Frozen
We're going.
Ever After is an attraction that I was pretty underwhelmed by the first time I did it, just because it was like at the tail end of a long trip, and my grandma's not into Frozen, so I was kind of like, me and her were kind of like in a negative attitude about it from the get go. And there's actually this really hilarious picture of my grandma and I, and we're just sitting in the middle of the boat, looking just bored out of our minds, while all the other like young parents, like parents and kids, some of the parents probably younger than I am, honestly. We're just like, oh wow, look at Elsa, and my grandma and I are just like smack dab in the middle of the picture, just like but then Dragon, I think you're a good storyteller, Dragon. So regale them with my the redemption arc of Frozen Ever After for me.
Do you mean with the pastry involved?
Well, yes, you can tell them about the pastry because it does play a part.
Well, essentially, I believe the second or third time was it the second?
The second time. So
Of
my
course, I'm
third
just
time is going to be this upcoming trip, Dragon.
right now. I'm just picturing Tiki on the first rise as he and his grandmother's like arms folded, like kind of like grumpy guy frowns, like
Oh, that's
man,
how we were. I think in that picture we literally did have our arms folded.
just like this.
Either arms folded or like head and forehead, or
Yeah.
hand and forehead.
Whereas my grandmother and I, we love Frozen, so if that were happening, I'd be like, woo! Point being, so like I said, once the second ride, Tiki kind of starts things off. You know what? I'm gonna do Frozen, man. He's walking there, but he's got to kill some time beforehand, so he goes into the little kind of Norwegian bakery, let's call it, little
Kringla.
What?
Yeah,
Kringla.
Kringla. Yeah,
Yes, the
exactly.
Kringla.
Exactly.
Yes, goes in there and he sees kind of this very Oaken-esque, this very Oaken-esque pastry maker, pastry provider, if you will. And essentially, he's just so positively, just so this man knows how to sell a pastry. Darn, knows how to sell a Norwegian pastry. He says, "Would you like to try the school bread?" And the Tiki never has a pastry been sold to another man like this. But you know what? Yes, he tries it. And he was just so charmed by this encounter. He was so eager to tell me when he got back from his trip. And anyway, just puts him in a great mood from the start. He gets on the ride again. He says he's really open to it this time. He's really like, you know what? This is. I may have misjudged this. When you're in the right headspace, man, you're just kind of like, I've had an Oaken-like encounter. I couldn't be more into Frozen if I tried right now. He's on the ride. He's going through the other rooms. He's seeing, he's falling in love with Olaf, but especially Sven. Man, this man loves that deer. Man, that's Tiki in this situation here. So basically, he's really falling for the Olaf and the Sven animatronics. Sven later on with his tongue stuck on the little the icicle.
Yeah.
It's good old icy architecture, if you will. It's it's a grand encounter. Of course, we get to the ending there. It's all three of our main heroes there. With Anna, Elsa, and Olaf. Singing in summer, and it's quite delightful.
And then honestly, I liked it so much, and it was still early enough in the day that I got back in line and did it again with like
The
a
boy did it
15-minute wait.
again.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm now a big fan of Frozen Ever After, and it's one of my favorite attractions at Disney World.
Yeah, and of course, I do like how we're kind of rooting properties, to their point of origin, with kind of the global theme of Dark
Technically.
Ride in this case,
Technically, and again, it's another one of those great Fantasyland dark rides,
Uh-huh.
and I think that the more I think about it, I'm only just realizing this now. This was a decade that was really defined by the Fantasyland style dark ride.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Between Little Mermaid and I can even argue for Mystic Manor and Radiator Springs Racers and
Seven
Doors Mansion and
Dwarfs.
Ratatouille, like all of those big attractions, they're really Fantasyland-esque.
Yep.
Yeah, at least until we get into the second half of the decade. The second
Oh,
half
yeah.
of the decade, the scale kind of starts to go through
Yeah,
the roof in
the
the
scale
second half.
kind of jumps up, but and like Frozen Ever After is just such a great Fantasyland style dark ride, and I
So
can't, like Dragon said the perfect word to describe it: delightful.
It is. It's just kind of I would argue it captures what the Frozen movie had going for it, where you have like kind of the simplicity to the story, and it's just there's something simple and kind of nice about it. Where again, it kind of has like we have kind of the greatest hits of the movie playing, but we're kind of recapping the events of the movie and kind of like a little refresher as we are basically being led into Arendelle for the first time, being I believe the main gimmick of the ride.
Yeah.
So now we're letting people in.
Summer snow day.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's
I do really like that that it doesn't just follow the direct plot of the movie. I mean, it's the major beats, but
it's saying, well, remember, it's like Grandpa always telling you, okay, here's what happened in the movie, here's like the main point of the movie, and then we're just kind of like, oh yeah, and of course, like it's kind of the greatest hits, but again, it's not purely a retread, like you're going through the movie. It's like we're saying, yeah, this is stuff that happened in the movie, but you liked it.
And the fact that they rewrote some of the songs to fit better, like you had for the first time in forever
with Kristoff.
Yeah, with Kristoff, and the Do You Want to Build a Snowman with Olaf, which is, I think that is one of the best moments in the entire resort. When you you round that bend and you see Olaf walking. It's such a great moment.
That animatronic, man, I believe there's some projection on him. Am I correct?
His eyes.
Yeah.
His eyes are like the backlit projection.
Of course, the snow looks amazing in that too. Like the snow just looks really, really great. But I gotta tell you, even like looking at the ride again, it's like there's such a I don't know why, man. It's just, I always get wistful and nostalgic and just go no, maybe not wistful and nostalgic. I don't know. I get like a special feeling when I see that ending of the ride, where it's just it's
the warm fuzzies.
Yeah, I get the warm fuzzies. See, Anna, Elsa, and Olaf, because again, those three characters, as we kind of been over when we talk about Olaf's Frozen Adventure, those three characters are intrinsically linked together. That kind of triangle, that trio. Because again, it's like that. He's the symbol of the sisterly bond, and seeing them all together and just kind of like basically they're basking, they're kind of having a little fun with the whole the in summer song or a variation on the in summer song. It's quite. I don't know. It's a great feel good feeling after you just kind of lived in the movie for a little bit.
Yeah. And I think that ride really shines, just transporting you into that world for 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I used to think that it didn't really fit in with the rest of the park, but that was before my bakery experience. After my bakery experience, I will never doubt that again.
It's moral of the story.
That bakery and that attraction just go together like chocolate and peanut butter. I mean, it's my God.
Yeah. The story might not be a traditional Norwegian story or Scandinavian story for that matter, but just the feeling that goes into it, and it's kind of the opposite feeling of the Scandinavian stuff. It's a bit more, it's a lot lighter, and it's the fluffy side of Scandinavia. For lack of a better term.
The moral
All
of the
right.
story is, kids, try the school bed. It'll change your life.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So then
Yeah.
also happening in 2016, a brand new gigantic theme park, the most ambitious Disney park that has ever been created. Shanghai Disneyland. Yeah, I remember being really invested in this.
This was a big achievement. It took them, like, I want to say they finally got the okay, after 10 years, and then after another 10 years, we finally opened it. Crazy.
Yeah.
$5.5 billion. Crazy.
So I think the two big attractions here, the two kind of tent poles, are obviously the Tron Coaster and Pirates of the Caribbean.
Tron Coaster, well, the Tron ride is a really good call. It's a really, especially in
Yeah.
Tomorrowland, or like in
Oh,
the
yeah.
Shanghai Disney Tomorrowland. It's really, it's a really clever idea. It's a really way of like branding it as your own and something it feels like it should be there, but we haven't seen established quite yet. And of course, it's something that's a little bit of a little generational. You have like the older Tron. You have like we tried to do a little bit of a remake of Tron with, I believe, when did Tron Legacy come out? Was that 2010?
I
Or
was
was
like
that
2011, I think.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing.
Something
So
like
it's
that.
something within the same decade. So Tron did
Uh-huh.
have a little bit of juice by the time they're doing this. It's like 5 years after that. Probably not a lot of juice, but I'm saying probably in the development time they had the idea for it and then just kind of like stuck with it.
Oh
So,
yeah.
the
And
I
point being,
mean, the
there's like a
idea of doing a
generation.
light cycle coaster has been in the works since the original movie was in development.
Exactly.
it
That's a
just
great
makes sense.
idea. It kind of still holds
It
true. I
just
think.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
well, I was about to say, moving on to Pirates, and that is just I prefer the original Pirates, but on its own merits, it is something else.
It really is, man. I mean, I think pre Rise of the Resistance, I think this was probably the most jaw-dropping POV of a Disney attraction that I've ever watched. I mean,
Oh
I
yeah,
think even the video just like really showcases how epic of a scale this thing is. And to me, this is probably the best use of screens. Maybe this and Rise of the Resistance are probably like maybe tied almost, depending on. I mean, I haven't been on either of them, but I mean, the use of screens in this, it's just like, okay, like, yeah, we are going to use screens, but it's not like we're just going to use screens as a crutch. We're going to use screens as a tool, and we're going to like surround you with screens, and we're going to like make you feel like you're within this vast world, and we're still going to put in animatronics and giant set pieces and ships and
oh yeah.
and explosions and water, and I mean, it's just
And they
it's all
blend
together.
the way they blend the screens and the physical sets is
Yeah,
so
yeah.
good.
It's just altogether just a super impressive achievement.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of the oh, sorry, please.
No, go ahead.
I think the big achievement for me is that this could have been Iger's folly, as some people might phrase it. I mean, we know Iger definitely when this thing's opening, he was trying to put himself in Walt's position. At the end of the day, he kind of is in Walt's position. Speech a little hammy, I won't lie, but the point being, he's just literally just taking Disney's first speech, trying to make it his own. So I don't mind it, but I'm saying some people with a critical eye of some of Iger's critics might say like, yeah, I mean, I think he might be trying a little too hard to be Walt in that case. But the point is like he put a lot of investment in this. This was kind of his big gamble. Like a lot of people said, I don't know, man, Shanghai. You got to remember, Shanghai just kind of sometimes, the Chinese audience can be hard to sometimes it can be hard to grasp like how they're going to respond to things. Of course, I mean, just look at like how many movies going overseas, especially in China, have been really panned or just been banned. I mean,
Star
literally
Wars,
banned.
for example.
Oh,
That's what
yeah.
I'm saying. Like some big things are like instant hit, man. Who in their right minds would not go gaga for the big movie kind of Star Wars, for example, banned, or in this case underperformed. Some movies get banned, some movies underperform. It's like it's hard to gauge what the overseas audience is going to take sometimes. And China is very much kind of that. Is kind of the unknown factor in that regard. So, Point Shanghai could have bombed big time. There could have been like $5.5 billion bomb. Man, that could have been bad. But it worked out at the end of the day, man. I mean, Iger was vindicated, man. Good for Iger.
And I think that the park has a lot of flaws. I think that castle is an abomination.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, don't they have the gold stuff on top of the castle, or is that just ever like, what's the deal with that?
I think all of them do.
Yeah, right. It is okay as well. But I remember they had like a custom thing. They have like some symbol at the top of the castle there in Shanghai. They did something special at the top.
Oh, they
I
have
do think
the
that
flowers,
Yeah, that's it.
the golden flowers.
Yeah.
I do think that Shanghai, just in general, from what I've seen of their attractions, even the quote unquote clones, they kind of like go above and beyond to, make them a little bit more ambitious. Like the Fantasyland dark rides, for example, Peter Pan looks a little bit more large scale than it usually does. And also I've heard from D Hindley on WDW Magic, who's been here, that believe it or not, the River Rapids ride is the big like rope drop. You've got to get to it. It's not Tron, it's not Pirates, it's that.
Well,
Which
and
honestly, that ride just to me looks a little underwhelming, just because it's mostly rapids, and then you get like the one giant lava monster animatronic,
which is really cool.
but you might not even get a chance to really see it depending on what side of the raft you're facing, so
Okay, yeah.
yeah, it's I don't know, it's weird. That ride is weird to me, the fact
Yeah.
that it takes up like so much space. Anyways,
Yeah. But that animatronic is, if you get in a good position for it, it's a really cool moment, having
I'm sure it is.
giant crocodile open its jaws over you.
And it's not in B mode like Disco Yeti.
Yeah. Yet.
Yet, yeah. All right. Okay. Anything else with Shanghai?
Easily the worst daytime parade. Gonna throw that out there.
I don't really. I honestly haven't followed any of the parades really this decade. Oh, except for Paint the Night. Paint the Night is wonderful. Shout out to Paint the Night. It was gone too soon from Disneyland. I loved it.
I don't think even Disneyland knows what they're doing with Paint the Night.
Ah, man, I'm so bummed about, because Paint the Night. Some of my favorite Disneyland memories of this past decade are Paint the Night. Especially doing the teacups and Paint the Night. Teacups and Paint the Night was just wonderful. Especially because it was basically like a guaranteed spot for Paint the Night. Plus, you got to spin teacups at the same time. I mean,
yeah.
The fact that nobody thinks to do that and it's still just like a hack is kind of astonishing to me. I did it for the electrical parade, and I'm like, this is okay. It's not the same,
not
because
the same.
It's really not, because Paint the Night, it just had so much more of a high energy to it. All right.
No.
Anyways, sorry not to wax poetic about Paint the Night for too long.
Oh no, because I'm gonna do that a bit.
All right. Dragon, would you like to set up our next thing here?
Well, folks, we're going to Pandora. Let's go 2017.
Let's go to the Valley of Molara.
Oh, but it won't be ready for a few years. No, I'm kidding. It's open now. I'm just saying it's Cameron for you. Okay.
So this is the cool evolution here.
Yeah.
So Radiator Springs was essentially like a beat by beat, brick by brick, tire by tire recreation of what you see in the movie. The Valley of Mora is essentially, like the most iconic Avatar set pieces rolled up into one sort of like national park of an alien planet. And then Galaxy's Edge is going to be the planet itself. So you see the progression here. And that really fascinates me. My only problem with Avatar Land, having seen it in person, is that I think the whole layout to it is essentially just one big square. And and to me, there's like a lot of winding paths, but the winding paths almost kind of do more harm than good, in terms of like, there's a lot of ways to get lost. Not a lot of things are easily marked. But in terms of immersion, especially at night, it is something special, man. It really is. I mean, the Imagineers just really pulled out all the stops with the floating mountains and the bioluminescence and the sound design. The sound design in this land, especially at night, is just something else. I mean, I could geek out about it. Flight of Passage, I honestly, like, after my, like, fourth ride on Flight of Passage, I kind of got to the point where it's like, okay, I know the big highlight moments of this ride. I like it. The technology is really impressive, but I don't really feel like it's it's like a must. Like, I feel like it's kind of like a once a trip kind of deal for me, where it's like, I'm not going to be beating myself up over it to get on it like multiple times per day or anything. But Flight of Passage is a very impressive ride, and I do like it a lot better than Soarin'. Not to poo-poo on Soarin'. I think Soarin', it's like, if you get a good seat on Soarin', then it can be a wonderful experience. The problem with Soarin', as we kind of all know, is that there's not a ton of good seats. Flight of Passage, there's much more of an opportunity to get a good seat. Anyways, anything you guys have to say about Avatar Land?
Yeah, big thing.
You just kind of nailed it right on the head. No, I'm also gonna have to mention those animatronics.
Oh yeah. Oh well, yeah. We'll get to the animatronics. Dragon, go ahead.
Yeah, so you're looking, reflecting on the decade here. So of course, Avatar, it's a big get IP wise, and I would imagine mostly money motivated. That okay, oh my god, Avatar at this
It's
time.
Potter motivated.
Exactly, Potter motivated, of course, at this time. Thankfully, has been amended. Was the highest grossing movie of all time? Not anymore. Anyway, used basically we're using a mostly visual based film as an attraction, which again, while money motivated, does go hand in hand with like it basically gave Disney, okay, well, what can we? Avatar,
I was
of course,
always on board with this, man. I think it fits Animal Kingdom with the conservation themes perfectly.
yeah.
And I do think it fits the Tony Baxter philosophy of like, you can't really design an attraction without a good setting. And, like or hate the movie, Pandora is a good setting.
And that's what I'm saying. Like they did the really smart thing in that they connected it to Animal Kingdom, and they kind of like, we need to spice. How can we spice things up, kind of spice up Animal Kingdom, but also kind of connect it within the grander whole without being completely like out of left field? Or okay, there's obviously there's the message of the movie, there's the natural thing, the bioluminescence we can do something really neat with. It all yet again all gelled really nicely. So again, I think they made the most out of kind of a buy on name alone. But again, I think they were smart enough to realize this: if we put it in the right place, we can make it work. Obviously, put it somewhere else. Like we put it in Epcot, bit of a buy. Bit of a buy.
I think that Joe Rohde just really, Animal Kingdom is his baby, and I think that if it weren't Joe Rohde in charge, it could have been a garbage fire. It really could have.
Yeah, sometimes the mark of the right person for the job. Not every time is somebody who is raising the point that this could be a bad idea. The guy who's like really hesitant to get into it. The guy who's going to say like, I'm not sure about that. I don't know how we're going to do this. That's usually the guy who's going to get the job done right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And I can see Joe Rohde's earring all around that land.
Yeah,
totally.
Speaking of which, one of my favorite design things of the whole land, the floating mountain illusion is genius.
Oh my gosh, it's so
the
cool.
floating mountains of Hallelujah.
No, but seriously, the floating mountain.
Yeah.
It is.
The floating mountain is really cool.
They pulled it off so well.
Let's see.
I mean, the fact that you could just like literally just like walk under it and just gawk at it.
Oh, by the way, so the shaman animatronic, like the animatronic one.
Yes, I still think the Shaman of Song still has not been topped this decade, honestly. Like, everything in Galaxy's Edge, everything in Guardians, I think this is the animatronic of the decade for me.
I mean...
just how big she is, how fluidly she moves, just how realistic she is. I know.
It'd be impressive if we found out the reason all those Avatar sequels were delayed is because Cameron, the big next level thing he's been working on this whole time is no CG animatronics.
Oh my god! Oh man!
That's how you would buy it back. Of like, okay, after all this time, you know why it took so long? That's why.
Yeah, I would. Oh man.
I would be in line just to see how it works.
That's what I'm
I mean,
saying.
I'm not even into the characters, the world at all. But like, yeah.
Like Cameron again,
Oh.
like I was involved in the whole be the ultimate advertiser. I was involved in oversaw some of the stuff when they're building they're building Pandora, the land for Avatar land. I was, what, I saw something really kind of sparked a really interesting idea, but I knew it was going to take forever, but I wanted to do it.
I mean, not wrong.
Yeah, I figured, how can I beat all the CG I did in the last movie? Well, I took the CG out. That's how.
Oh God, I love it. Anyway,
That's all I got on
Wow.
Pandora.
Okay. So Mission Breakout.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the fanboys really love this one.
They do.
They do.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I think most of them have come around on it. This is one of those attractions where it's like, I used to I do think that the pre-show is overall like better themed than the ride itself, but the ride itself is a really fun shot of adrenaline. And as far as drop sequences go, I think it's by far the best drop sequence of any of the Tower of Terrors around the world.
Yeah, of course. Mission Breakout, to the MCU, brought to Disney via the Tower of Terror. This honestly, this is how you get me to try the Tower of Terror. This sort of thing. You're like, okay,
Oh, you really should, Dragon. If you ever do hypothetically end up in DCA, you really should.
That's what I'm saying, but theming at the Guardians and like how well that ended up being. The collector cell is really solid. The whole the collection full of Easter eggs from the MCU is phenomenal. The pre-show.
I am not the daughter of Thanos.
The pre-show. That's great. The pre-show is my favorite part. I love the pre-show so much because
you guys validate.
It's just perfect. It's in line with Guardians of the Galaxy. Obviously, James Gunn was there. We have all the actors there, with the exception of Vin Diesel. It's with one exception. It's great, of course. Rocket. Rocket's animatronic again. We're getting to again. Like, is how we beat. How do you do better than the Olaf one at that time? Rocket, man. Rocket stole the show.
Rocket is he's a pretty damn impressive AA.
Oh yeah. Of course, the little Walkman grab gets me, man. I love the little Walkman grab.
Oh yeah. I will wager to say that Monsters After Dark is the best holiday overlay that Disney has ever done.
Country Bears.
Yeah, well,
you shut your mouth.
No, I don't know. Monsters After Dark, man. The way that they pull that off, the way that like everything comes together, like they transform that attraction in like 30 minutes, and the cast members are so in character. It makes waiting in the line just a great experience in its own right. Yeah, Monsters After Dark. I'm a big fanboy of Monsters After Dark. I really am.
I feel overall, Mission Breakout kind of added a humor and a sci-fi setting to an iconic ride. So again, they kind of breathe new life into the thing. And
I think it's way better than DCA Tower. And DCA Tower, the thing that people don't talk about is that it was a far inferior version to WDW Tower.
Of course, the big thing is
honestly, Mission Breakout I kind of prefer over WDW Tower, which might be a controversial statement.
That's a very controversial statement.
I love the pace of Mission Breakout. I think that the queue is very immersive. I think that the humor is very irreverent, and I really. Oh, and also, I'd be remiss if I didn't point out the most fourth wall breaking line in a Disney attraction ever.
Disneyland.
That's thematically inconsistent. It's just like, yeah, we hear you, fanboys. All right, getting close to the end here, folks.
Yeah, so big takeaway, we demonstrate the promise of the future of the MCU attractions with Mission Breakout. So it's kind of a big thing that we kind of set up, and that's why we're developing all the ones kind of like globally now with the whole interconnected Disneyland. An interconnected universe for now, interconnected theme parks for interconnected universe.
Oh, God.
Doesn't get any more meta than that. All right. So
I'm most likely going to be able to do the Spider-Man ride at some point this year because I'll probably be doing a SoCal trip at some point this year.
I'm convinced
after Spider-Man opens.
Mickeyfan, you still haven't seen Imagineering Story, right?
I haven't.
Okay, I'll be vague then. Tiki, I still think that bit in Imagineering Story might allude to the Spider-Man ride. We have no proof of that, but I still think we might be alluding
I
to
still
that.
think it's stunt show.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see.
Oh,
Either
are you
stunt
talking
show-
about the Are you talking about the acrobatic animatronic?
Yes,
I
you know
saw
what we're
that.
talking about. It's guys. It's either stunt show or it's the Avengers e-ticket. I really don't think that they're gonna have technology like that in the Spider-Man ride.
But it would be amazing if it did, though, wouldn't it?
It would.
It
I
would,
mean,
yeah.
the Spider-Man pose, man. That's awesome. That's him.
Yeah.
All right.
So, Mickey fans,
So,
turn it over to
Oh, my turn to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happily ever after, Mickeyfan.
Happily Ever After, it just premiered 2017. Still probably the best nighttime spectacular out of all the parks. That's a bold statement. But
Phantasmic 2.0 has something to say to you about that. I know that it has the pirate scene, which isn't great, but everything else about Phantasmic 2.0 is brilliant.
I'll give you that. But
that.
the pirate scene brings down Phantasmic 2.0 from a 10 to a 7.
Yeah, I don't think it's that bad. I really don't, but that's a whole other argument.
But
I wanted to talk about Phantasmic 2.0. Honestly, I love Phantasmic 2.0. I don't think the pirate scene is that bad. Is it inferior to Pan? Yes, but I love everything else about it. I think overall the updates are brilliant.
Yeah. Well,
anyways,
I think that Happily Ever After is just, it's the best of the projection mapping shows. It's easily Disney World's best fireworks show they've ever done. I'm even going to include the Illuminations in that statement because I can.
The one time I saw Illuminations was right after I drank around the world.
Oh, you had a good time.
Oh, yeah, I did. Oh, you better believe it. I'm still to this day not entirely convinced that I didn't drunkenly steal someone's spot without knowing it.
regular WDYNO.
Yeah, no. It's I will admit it. I will admit it. When I go on my Disney and Florida trips, I do partake. Anyways, go ahead, Mickeyfan. Sorry.
The choice of IP that they used for the show is,
Hunchback,
and Hercules.
Yes. I love how Go the Distance is one of the big motifs of the show.
It is, and I think that where the show really shines is in its message of, it's beyond the generic wishes, dreams, magic.
Wishes.
Exactly. It's beyond the genericness that you normally get from these shows, and there's a lot of substance to it. There's I admit I tear up a lot, during that finale with the stained glass castle, and the narrator's talking and saying, go out, find your happily ever after. All these guys did. Now it's your turn, and I think it hits you.
Oh yeah.
It's, especially seeing it in person, it hits you.
Mickeyfan, I have a question for you, just semantically about this.
Yeah.
And this is where my kind of being unable to participate in nighttime spectaculars kind of comes into play. So I don't want to get into detail, but I have very weak feet, and standing in one place for any given period of time is really difficult for me physically, especially when I'm, when my feet are already cramped from, just a day at a theme park, just generally speaking. So, Mickeyfan, I have a question. Do you think either I could, talk to the cast members and, set up some sort of, disability thing where I can watch from, the wheelchair area? Or does a fast pass, would a fast pass be able to grant me a sitting spot?
So they don't have fast pass for happily ever after.
Okay.
Your best bet for that kind of idea would be to get to splurge a bit and do the dessert.
Oh, son of a bitch. I really
Yeah.
can't afford that, bro.
Yeah. Other than
I'm
that,
already splurging so much on this trip.
other than that, I don't think that
Like,
there's a specific
are there
meal
any
there.
areas that you think I could, like, lean or, like, kind of cheat?
You could bring like
Right,
a stool and a backpack.
if you go right next to the partner statue,
Right next to the partner
yeah,
statue?
right next to partners.
Oh, wait, I think I know what you're talking
yeah,
about because I did that for the Christmas fireworks.
yeah, 30 to 15 minutes before they push everyone up and you get right in
Uh-huh.
front of the castle.
Yeah, but that's the problem. It's like I can't stand for 30 minutes before, let alone the 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just kind of like physically out of the question for me, which kind of
Well,
sucks.
another thing
Anyways.
you could do is watch it from the Main Street station.
Oh, that's possible. That's possible. Anyways, sorry, I don't mean to spend so much time on this. Dragon, do you have any thoughts on this one?
Nope.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so Toy Story Land. Oh my God, this one blew my expectations away, guys. It really did. And I'm proud to say that because I did splurge my last trip and got an early entry into Toy Story Land, I was able to marathon Slinky Dog Dash 8 times in a row, and it was a blast. The ride is very marathonable, which is a shame because it's like unless you splurge and do like an after hours or an early morning, you're not going to get to marathon it.
No.
You're not even going to get to do it like twice in one day, most likely. But Slinky Dog Dash, I feel like it might be Disney's best overall like coaster for the sake of being a coaster.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I
Because
absolutely agree.
there's not much to it.
It's
There's not
fun.
much to it in terms of the theme.
It's fun.
It's super fun.
Pure
It's super
fun.
fun.
Which I think that's kind of the byline for Toy Story Land in general. Just have fun.
One of my biggest memories of Toy Story Land was taking a selfie with one of the Green Army men, and the Green Army man was like, "Thank you, soldier. Enjoy playtime." And I was like, this is so awesome.
Yes.
It was at night too, which like enhanced it.
Yeah,
Anyways.
I really think it's so good at getting that kind of your summer night having fun in the backyard kind of feel.
This is a nightland for sure.
Oh yeah,
for sure. A nightland or a morning land. This is not a middle of the day land. This is hell in the middle of the day.
Oh, it's miserable in the middle of the day.
But yeah, for a nightland, it's spectacular, man. It really is. Okay.
So of course,
I will say my favorite aspect of Toy Story Land, my absolute favorite area in Toy Story Land, and honestly, one of my favorite little tucked away areas in the entire Walt Disney World property is something that nobody really brings up, but it's the exit pathway for Midway Mania.
Yes. With the
yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, with the it's
the barrel of monkeys.
Yes.
And like the popsicle stick benches and oh man.
It's really smart.
All right, Dragon, I'm sorry, you were saying?
Of course, of all the lands I want to explore, Toy Story Land is definitely on the top of that list, regardless. So I feel this is something that they've been kind of slowly building towards.
It's like everyone's rushing to get on Rise of the Resistance, and Dragon's just like, Slinky Dog, Slinky Dog.
When you're on Galaxy's Edge, looks great, but let's face it, you need you need to be highfalutin to go to Galaxy's Edge and not walk out of there with like a barrel around your waist. That's what I'm talking about. Galaxy's Edge. It's pricey. Toy Story Land, though. So seriously, I think I've been slowly building towards this since Midway Mania back in the day, and of course, basically Midway Mania and that Pixar Archway, which I have been to. I've been to both of those. I've been in the infancy of Toy Story Land. That's as close as I've ever been to it. Not really Toy Story Land, but just think of like the Pixar entryway, which is as close like to a dream I'm gonna get to. Like, oh god, it looks exactly like it. Then Midway Mania, which of course is great, and you have like from the toys' perspective, the toys' eye view, these beloved characters, attractions. Like, never in my life did I expect it to get better than Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin, man. I was like, in life I'd be still content with that, but just getting more than that, that's just, oh my goodness. It's just like Slinky Dog Dash, the RC. I know some of these haven't gotten to like kind of like the California one yet, but I'm saying you have like RC Racer, the parachute drop. Right now I think they do have the alien saucers, like all that, but it's like it's tremendous. I hear like old restaurants, like they're in lunch boxes, man, lunch boxes. It's amazing. Now here's the thing: I'm most slobbering if I ever get to the place. Again, I need to know: did you see this when you were there? Or you too, Mickeyfan? Like, Mickeyfan, have you been to Toy Story Land?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so tell me this, guys. I don't know if it was like an opening day thing, because I know there's somebody who built this, and I don't know if they were there for the opening day, and that's why this was there, if it's like a built-in fixture of the park. I don't know. Tell me, did you see the Pizza Planet truck there?
I don't think I did.
Tiki.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think the Pizza Planet truck is there, honestly.
Yeah, I think it might have been. I don't know if I guess they rented those guys or what, because basically somebody had built a Pizza Planet truck. I mean, to the most. It's like is 100% authentic, as in like in the Pizza Planet truck was parked there, and one of the videos I saw.
No, hold on. I think it might be in the Alien Swirling Saucers queue.
That should. Like, can you walk up to it?
I think it's honestly kind of like in the scale of the Buzz Lightyear Easter egg in Cars Land, where it's actually just kind of like a toy Pizza Planet car.
Okay, so it's still not the one I'm talking about here, because the one I'm talking about, it's like full size. You can walk up to it.
No, I don't know, man. I don't
think I saw it.
Well, the point being, I think it might be like the guys I'm thinking of who were just there for the opening or whatnot. But I remember I just saw like there's this Pizza Planet truck where inside of it, like you have Buzz in the front seat and you have Woody in the toolbox in the back seat. You have the three aliens on the. It's like it's like seeing the Pizza Planet truck in real life. And it's like, oh god, I don't know if it's there. I don't know if it's just there for the opening. It might be just like those guys, but regardless, it's just it just adds like the perfect like thing you could ever add to that, man. But still, it's Toy Story Land as a whole, man. It's a magical experience. It's like that's the mythical thing I want to see is the Pizza Planet truck there.
I do love the detail that in the Alien Swirling Saucers queue, you have the giant Buzz Lightyear statue, and then you have the the crashed Buzz Lightyear spaceship, which is the box.
It's great.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
It is.
Anyways.
That is beyond. I always love that box design, man. Anyway, all right. So speaking of space and spaceships and such.
Yeah, so Galaxy's Edge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mickeyfan, have you had a chance to ride Rise yet?
No.
Okay, fair enough. So I will say, stepping foot into Galaxy's Edge and looking around and seeing the stormtroopers on the balcony and, just kind of seeing all the architecture and rockwork blend together and the feeling of it being a marketplace and not a theme park land, I honestly do think Galaxy's Edge might be the most immersive theme park land I've ever experienced.
Oh, 100%.
Without question.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing I always think of, and I said this from, first time I stepped into the land, during cast member previews, I looked at my sister who was with me and said, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of a World Showcase Pavilion.
Totally. Absolutely. It's like a huge World Showcase pavilion. It's like a
Yeah.
World Showcase pavilion that takes up like a third of the World Showcase.
World Showcase Pavilion on steroids.
Right. Oh man. Yeah, there's a ton. I mean, I don't know. I love the like I love the fact that you can essentially go into the land and there's like a story playing out at any
Oh, yeah.
given moment.
Well, and you
And
have
it's like it's up to the guest. It's up to the guest to really engage with it.
yeah. Well, and I think that where the land shines is in what unfortunately little atmosphere it has with Ray and Chewie and the First Order and Vimerati, and like it's great. Just you're just able to engage with it all and put yourself into the story.
And Dragon, did you know that R2D2 is in fact roaming around now?
Only
He
in
is?
Disneyland.
Yeah. Oh, only at Disneyland? Yeah.
Only
yeah.
at Disneyland.
But still, I think that's a cool kind of test run, and I do think that Galaxy's Edge 2.0 is going to include like, hey, it's the summer of droids or something like that.
Oh boy, it'd be great.
The droids are coming, folks.
They're coming.
Oh
I-
god, you know it would be great. You know it would be great is if they did sort of like a storyline involving the droids in Galaxy's Edge, where it's like a
That would be wonderful.
like a droid rights, like like we will not be oppressed.
Well, didn't Solo have something like that?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I'm referencing. But I'm saying, like, do it right, man. I'm fired up with my whole, like, all right, Hoth, gentrification in the Star Wars universe. What are the ramifications of people trying to capitalize on a war field within the Star Wars mythology? Go.
Check it out on
And I-
WDW Magic.
Let me
Yeah.
let me just throw like a simpler ask out of all this. I just want C-3PO to go around and look for R2D2. That's all I really want.
Oh my god.
That would be
Yes.
so wonderful.
Yes, just
So
the whole time,
wholesome.
And then maybe throughout the day we have scheduled like different reunions where it's
Yeah.
like oh R2, I'm so glad I found you again.
Where
Yes,
are you going?
That's what I'm saying. That's all I really want in regards to like the walk around characters. Just give me like C-3PO.
Well, you could go that way, but I'm not going that way. There's nothing over there.
Oh, R2, we've lost BB-8.
Oh god.
I would love to see a BB-8 rolling around.
I think
What I'm
BB-8. I honestly think the problem with BB-8 is that kids would freaking swarm BB-8. I mean, there'd be crowd control issues with BB-8
You know, it'd be
because
amazing.
of the popularity.
Imagine this. BB-8.
Okay.
He's rolling around. He goes to like the one of the other great things about Galaxy's Edge. You have like the lightsaber construction and the droid construction.
Yes.
He goes there and basically there's like a beat where maybe people as they walk out of the ride, you see BB-8 kind of roll in there and he sees like a bunch of the other ones just kind of being tested out like on the ground. He's like oh god, it's like just being waked up by all the other little BB-8s, all the other.
Oh my god.
Droids, and maybe they fall in like ducklings or something. I don't know.
Oh god.
I would love that.
But seriously, Galaxy's Edge, I mean, most immersive and ambitious Disney endeavor hands down.
I'm really excited about the storytelling potential for Galaxy's Edge.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
I'm excited for the fact that they could potentially like do a renovation of it where they go back in time, or just include like, hey, bounty hunters have taken over Galaxy's Edge, or like you
Yes.
said with the droid uprising or something like that.
It would be really cool to see what all they could do with it, and for the most part, it feels like it's pretty open-ended.
Life Day.
Yeah, I don't know if you're aware of this, Mickeyfan.
That's
He and
all I
we-
want. That's all I want.
Just to see how they would pull it off. I want to see Life Day.
Tiki and I did like a whole pitch about what Life Day might look like at Galaxy's Edge.
And you have the wishing tree there.
Yes.
Do you think that they could do an original Life Day-esque, but not Life Day?
No, I think they can do Life Day. No, straight up, it was referenced in Mandalorian. It's canon.
John
No,
Favreau did. No, in all seriousness, John Favreau
I'm
did
being
say he
dead
was open.
serious. I am being dead serious right now. We need Life Day.
Seriously, we do like a whole redemptive pitch. Like, here's how you make Life Day actually pretty cool. And you do like a whole thing with Chewie, and you can redeem that whole story. And anyway.
Well, I mean, you have that little stage area thing that you could do like a Life Day thing on.
Exactly, and that was kind of how we culminated our thing, where he basically had well, now it can't work because now the movie's over. But our pitch was that there was going to be like a big, like kind of like almost like a Christmas ceasefire, like a Christmas, the famous Christmas like the truce around the holiday. There's going to be a whole thing where Chewbacca wanted to kill Kylo Ren, obviously did the Han, and basically it was going to be able to both kind of let each other go in honor of Han and Life Day and the whole thing. So it was. So basically, it was like they're gonna go with like basically the First Order was gonna crash the ceremony, and basically the Life Day ceremony was going on, and the First Order kind of crashed ceremony. Then Kylo Ren, BB-8 or not BB-8, R2D2, he plays the. Someone plays a recording or something. I think it might have been Han or something. And the point being is it deterred him, so he didn't.
It's adorable. It's adorable. I will say that
perfect Christmas cheese.
Gross. Yeah. Sorry, Oga's Cantina. The drinks are gross. They're overpriced. They're not worth it. Like screw Oga's Cantina. I'm not impressed. I love.
However, we are in support of Scum and Villainy Cantina, though. We are in support of those guys.
We're not affiliated with those guys, but yes, we support them.
But we do support them. They have a really nice bar.
Yeah. All right. So final thoughts, gentlemen. Final thoughts on the decade at Disney on a whole.
Well, I feel when it's all said and done, there's definitely a progression you can take away from it all. I mean, again, we kind of things keep getting better in regards to the technology evolving, how it's applied to the rides. Of course, we've seen the future of immersive Imagineering within Galaxy's Edge, like a whole park-wide sort of thing. We've seen we built around IPs a lot. That's kind of the bigger takeaway. Now, again, it's not to say there's no originality at all, because again, something like Mystic Manor is definitely there. It's definitely just kind of like the ideas are there, and we're seeing it kind of come up in unexpected ways. But we are definitely going a little bit more towards. We have all these properties. We might as well make full use of them. And good news is, so far they've been really well utilized. Now we've been really kind of like. We haven't really faltered with it. The MCU feels like the MCU. Pandora feels very much like we're in Pandora. We have floating mountains for pity's sake. We have Toy Story lands, and again we're going to space, and every cast member's committed to it. Darn it, And Rise of the Resistance need I say more? So we're in good shape. I would like to see a little bit. I'm perfectly satisfied. We just kind of go forward with the IP stuff, as long as it's good. But I mean. Again, it would be nice to see some Mystic Manor type stuff, kind of pop up.
I want to see some more original attractions for sure.
That's what I'm saying. And would I be unhappy if we just?
And I think that there is definitely a fandom at play for C, and if C is Disney's excuse to kind of like make a franchise out of original characters, then so be it. I want
Dreamfinder and Figment.
Oh, I think Dreamfinder and Figment need to be included in C. Honestly, they're kind of like in my own head.
Okay, I thought about this too.
Tiki, lock in the crawl.
Oh, right. Okay. Mickeyfan, any final thoughts on your end?
I think it was a really strong decade. There were a lot of highs. I'm liking where this decade is going so far with Tokyo's expansion, with what we've had announced so far with Epcot, and what we've had and what we've had announced so far just all around the world. And I think that ultimately this decade was the setup for the 20s. I really think that this was Disney finding their feet, figuring out, okay, what works, what doesn't, and we're going to see the fruits of those efforts in this decade.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us, folks. As always, it's been a lot of fun. I always love to talk about theme park stuff whenever we can, because we are called So You Want to Be an Imagineer after all. So, Anyways, can't guarantee you we'll be talking about theme park stuff again soon, but I do have a trip to Florida, and I'm going to get a lot of coaster credits, and Dragon and I are going to talk about said coaster credits. I'm probably going to hit my 75th coaster credit within the first couple days I'm in Florida. Very excited about that. Maybe I can hit 100. Can I? Who knows? Stay tuned. All right. See you guys later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.